Imagine living in a world where every neighboring city feared your army. Your soldiers trained from childhood, your discipline was legendary. Your victories became the stuff of myth. When people across the ancient world heard the name Sparta, they thought of invincible warriors. Yet there is a strange contradiction. Sparta never became an empire like Rome. It never ruled millions of people. It never stretched across continents. In fact, despite possessing one of the most feared armies in history, Sparta often seemed reluctant to conquer at all. Why? The answer isn't that Sparta lacked military strength. It is that Sparta's greatest strength was also its greatest weakness. To understand why, we first have to understand what Sparta actually was. Chapter 1. A society built for war. Modern movies often portray Sparta as a nation obsessed with conquest. The reality was more complicated. Sparta existed in the fertile valley of Laconia in southern Greece. Unlike many Greek city-states, Sparta possessed rich farmland. Instead of becoming traders or sailors, the Spartans focused almost entirely on land warfare. But there was a problem. The Spartans were vastly outnumbered. After conquering neighboring Messenia, they enslaved much of the local population. These people became known as the Helots, unlike ordinary slaves. Helots farmed the land and supplied food for Spartan citizens. Without them, Spartan society simply could not function. But the Helots hated their masters. Ancient writers tell us that revolts were a constant fear. Some estimates suggest Helots outnumbered Spartan citizens by as much as 7 to 1. Imagine ruling over a population that could overwhelm you if it ever united. That fear shaped nearly every decision Sparta made. Chapter 2. The Hidden Prison. Sparta looked powerful from the outside. Inside it was trapped. Every campaign abroad meant fewer soldiers guarding the Helots at home. The longer Spartan armies remained away, the greater the danger became. Ancient historians describe Spartan kings cutting campaigns short whenever rumors of unrest spread. While Athens could send fleets across the Mediterranean, Sparta constantly had to look over its shoulder. Its army wasn't simply defending Greece. It was guarding a prison whose prisoners vastly outnumbered the guards. This is one of history's great ironies. The system that made Spartan soldiers possible also prevented Sparta from fully using them. Chapter 3. They didn't want wealth. Most empires expand for one reason: money. Persia expanded for tribute. Rome expanded for taxes. Carthage expanded for trade. Athens built a maritime empire funded by its allies. Sparta was different. Spartan culture viewed luxury with suspicion. Citizens were expected to live simply. According to ancient tradition, wealth was discouraged and displays of extravagance were frowned upon. Whether these ideals were followed perfectly is debated by historians, but they shaped Sparta's identity. Without a strong commercial culture, Sparta had less incentive to seek distant provinces. Conquering new lands also meant governing them, collecting taxes, building roads, managing ports, maintaining bureaucracies. These were not things Sparta excelled at or particularly valued. Chapter 4. A tiny citizen population. Perhaps Sparta's greatest limitation was demographic. Only full Spartan citizens could serve as the elite core of the army. Over time, that citizen population steadily shrank. War casualties, strict citizenship requirements, and unequal land ownership all reduced their numbers. Some ancient sources suggest that by the 4th century BC, only a few thousand full Spartan citizens remained. Every battlefield loss became increasingly difficult to replace. Other powers could raise new armies. Sparta could not. Each victory came at a growing cost. Chapter 5. The victory that broke Sparta. The irony of Spartan history reaches its peak after the Peloponnesian War. Sparta defeated Athens, becoming the dominant power in Greece. At last, it seemed the Spartans had achieved everything, but victory brought new responsibilities. Sparta suddenly had to oversee allies, collect tribute, manage distant territories, and navigate diplomacy on a much larger scale. These were tasks better suited to a bureaucratic empire than to a military aristocracy. Within a few decades, Spartan dominance began to erode. Then came disaster. In 371 BC, at the Battle of Leuctra, the Thebes defeated Sparta in one of the most shocking upsets in Greek history. The myth of Spartan invincibility was broken. Soon afterward, Messenia gained its freedom without the Helots who had worked its fields for centuries. Sparta lost the economic foundation that had sustained its way of life. It never recovered its former power. Conclusion: Sparta did not fail to build an empire because it lacked military brilliance. It failed because empires require far more than soldiers. They require administrators, merchants, engineers, tax collectors, ships, population growth, economic incentives, and above all, political flexibility. Sparta had built the finest warriors in Greece, but it had also built a society so specialized that it struggled to adapt. The very institutions that made Sparta famous, its dependence on Helot labor, its small citizen body, and its devotion to military discipline, left it unable to sustain the kind of expansion achieved by powers like Persia or later Rome. In the end, Sparta became one of history's most enduring legends not because it conquered the largest empire, but because it showed that military excellence alone is not enough to create one.